Ukrainian troops have struck strategic military facilities deep inside Russian territory. Ukrainian Special Operations Forces hit Russia's Grad missile ship, a Project 21631 Buyan-M corvette in Onega Lake in the Republic of Karelia in Russia's northwestern federal district, the General Staff of Ukrainian Armed Forces reported on Saturday. The Grad small missile ship, Project 21631 Buyan-M, was moving from the Baltic Sea to the Caspian Sea and was hit at 4:31 a.m. on October 4 as a result of successful actions by one of the Special Operations Forces units, the General Staff said in a statement. The strike targeted the right section of the ship's power plant compartment. Additional details are being clarified. It should be noted that the damaged Grad is one of Russia's newest and most state-of-the-art ships, having entered service with the Russian Baltic Fleet on December 29, 2022. The ship's main weapon system is the Kalibr-NK missile complex. In another operation, Ukrainian Special Forces hit Garmon radar complex and a transport loading vehicle from the Iskander missile system in Russia's border Kursk region, the General Staff of Ukrainian Armed Forces reported. The Special Operations Forces continue to carry out asymmetric and sensitive actions aimed at stopping the enemy, the General Staff said in its statement. Ukrainian air forces have struck Russian military targets in various directions of the front line with the use of fighter jets and US-supplied precision bombs. Su-27 fighter jets have destroyed a Russian ammunition depot with infantry inside one of the abandoned houses. An American guided aerial bomb's GBU-62 has been used during the operation. In another attack, Ukrainian Su-27 supersonic fighter aircraft struck with precision GBU-62 bomb communication officers of the Russian Army unit. In yet another operation, Ukraine's MiG-29 fourth-generation fighter jets destroyed a Russian battalion command post with a strike with GBU-39 bombs in the southern part of the front line. The video footage of the assault operations have been shared on social media. Ukrainian air forces have scaled up attacks on Russian army positions in the occupied territories, as well as in Russia's border regions.
Russia's offensive against Kupansk has turned into one of the greatest disasters of the war, a grinding campaign that devours entire brigades yet yields no meaningful gains. The fact that these fruitless but bloody efforts happen under the command of a general who was once a Ukrainian officer has started raising dreadful suspicion in the Russian ranks, says RFU news media outlet. It is noted that since being pushed back after the Ukrainian counter-offensive in late 2022, Russian armies have hurled themselves against Ukrainian defenses on several axes near Kupansk, but each of these has become a graveyard for Russian troops. Near Sinkiva, armored columns once tried to break through, but Ukrainian counterattacks and artillery fire forced most of them back. The forest belts remain littered with destroyed vehicles and dead Russians, while Ukrainian Special Forces raids keep Russian troops pinned down, RFU News says. To the south, near Pichane, the Russian attempt to split Ukrainian forces in two has turned into a killing zone through the infamous funnel. Here, Russians pour infantry into a narrow corridor only to be slaughtered by Ukrainian artillery, FPV drones, and ambushes from three sides. Every attempt to widen the corridor has collapsed, leaving Russian units undersupplied, exhausted, and easy prey. North of Kupiansk, in the Russian bridgehead, Russian troops did seize Vorichna after months of attritional assaults, but the prize turned out to be hollow. Armored vehicles cannot cross the Oskil and support an advance, and Ukrainian firepower blocks any further breakout. The result is a static bridgehead where infantry is fed in and destroyed with no prospect of operational success, despite some advances to the southwest, with most Russian soldiers being cut down as they attempt to move into the town. In all, Russia has spent 22 months, at least 2 combined arms armies, and 13,000 soldiers in the Kupiansk direction for nothing but blood and ashes. Ukrainian artillery, aviation and drones strike only the front lines, but also logistics hubs behind them, with extended supply lines further choking Russia's offensive. RFU News asks, this disaster has fueled a strange speculation. Could the Russian commander of this offensive, Lieutenant General Serhiy Storozenko, in fact be Ukraine's best spy? Storozenko was once a decorated Ukrainian officer, the commander of the 36th Marine Brigade, but during the Russian takeover of Crimea in 2014, he defected, and witnesses recall how he encouraged his men to surrender weapons and side with Russia, though he later claimed he had simply resigned. A week after the phony referendum that followed up, he received a Russian passport and soon headed a new brigade for the enemy. By 2022, he commanded the 35th Army in the Kharkiv region, which suffered a humiliating collapse at Izium. Instead of punishment, he was promoted to Lieutenant General in 2023 after whitewashing several post-operation reports and given command of the Russian 6th Army, which is now being bled to death outside Kupiansk. RFU News says, under Storozenko's watch, Russian losses are truly catastrophic. His 6th Army has repeatedly been thrown into frontal assaults that Ukrainians describe as senseless meat attacks. Casualties have skyrocketed so much since the start of the Kupiansk offensive that some Russian analysts whisper about deliberate sabotage. His track record reinforces the suspicion. Defeats at Izium, stalemate in Kursk, and now a complete disaster at Kupiansk